Hey everyone, welcome to Housing Houston, episode 4. I'm Kayla Ewald with First American Title, your co host.
And I'm your other co host, Mariela Aguirre with Terra Residential Services. Today, we have a fabulous one for you, mainly because it's all in everybody's mind. We're talking insurance today, and we're here today with Morgan with Goosehead, and she is going to talk to us about kind of what's happening in the industry at this point. But first, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, hi, I'm Morgan Kimbrough. I am obviously an insurance agent. We are an independent agent brokerage, so we actually work independently. I am my own business. We work with 40 plus different carriers. We have the ability to really shop around for our clients and our real estate professionals that we work alongside of. We actually work with only A-rated carriers, so everything works for loans, that when that time comes, for new home buyers or even just new purchases. And yeah, we're really just an asset for our people, our clients, our Ps, our referral partners, and all that fun stuff.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. And so to kick us off, let's go back to the past a little bit. So, what happened that domino affected everything else? So, we know that at the moment, there's a lot happening in the insurance world as far as costs are rising. I see it personally on my rentals, and I see it in my primary home, and I see it in my car insurance.
Mhm.
So, kind of what happened that now we're at this point?
Yeah, so honestly, we can go as far back as looking at the freeze in 21 and looking at Harvey in 2017. Both of those were such catastrophic situations that insurance is honestly still catching up. And I think once Beryl kind of actually hit and really did its damage in Texas, insurance realized that they could not afford to keep those super low prices as much as I know most of those companies wanted to, because that's what keeps their business, right? Having
Mhm.
those low prices and being able to be there. But in order to be there, they do have to have those funds. And so that's really where the increase is coming from. I know 2 years ago, the rates increased 60%. And so
Wow.
then we're looking this past year, it was 50%. So rates are really just going up as these catastrophes are they're really just, we've hit a hard stop.
hmm
And so the money needs to come in, and that's really the unfortunate situation just, in South Texas right now. And honestly, just Texas as a whole.
So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
been a domino effect. So
Mhm.
you're stating 2017 with Harvey and then 2021 with the storm and then Beryl happening. It's just a domino effect of these insurance agency companies not being able to catch up.
Exactly. And that's what it is it's these companies. And I mean, like I said, we work with only the A-rated companies, and it's those companies who are so well known for having that payout and giving that assistance to their clients. That's where we are now, is they're doing their job. They really are. It's just a matter of, we need a little bit more money to do it, because Beryl did some sort of billions of dollars of damage in
Oh,
Texas,
I can
and
imagine.
it was just a category 1. So
Yeah.
you look at the other two really big storms, and it's a matter of, those were worse in terms of categories and kind of the equivalent of damage. And so we're still kind of trying to bounce back from those, and now Beryl as well.
And Goosehead is bouncing back. I mean, you guys, I feel like Goosehead is staying strong, and you are an insurance company that provides so many different programs and policies for people. You can shop around, I believe.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about what differentiates you from maybe some other companies.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things, at least, like I said, we're very independent agents. But one of the biggest things is our business model. Really, we're going and we don't stop. Have that transparency, and we are going to educate those clients, and we're going to make sure everybody is on the same page and you know what to look for. Because honestly, I'll even tell people sometimes it's a matter of, even if you don't go with me, you're going to know what to look for in the next run. Or if you do go with me, when we come back and we reconvene, it's a different conversation,
So you're
right?
creating the relationship.
Oh,
So
for
let
sure.
me look at your policy and see where you stand and see what you need. You
Mhm.
might already have coverage that is better than what I can give you, and that's okay. Let's reconvene next year, see if your lifestyle changes, and see if I can help you then. That's brilliant. We need relationships, right? We want to be able to call you and on speed dial and say, hey, Morgan, can you help me out here? What do I need to look for? Is that something that you are? Okay.
Oh yeah. Whenever I am looking, at a client in general, and most of the time it is, hey, my homeowners, right? We do all of the personal lines. So I will literally tell them, let me look at your entire portfolio. It's a matter of, and it's not a matter of, can I get the business? It's a matter of, let me look because I know what I'm doing and I want to help you.
Yeah.
And, and then from there, it's a matter of how can I continue to help you in the future?
Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure. And of course, investors, I got us. So I have one question in particular because I've seen it already in the property management side, and so there have been carriers that have been pulling out of providing insurance coverage for rental property. So can you give us more of a kind of a highlight on what is happening with the rental properties, and does Goosehead provide that coverage?
Yeah, so we do renters,
Okay.
and we also do
and also landlord policies.
Yeah, we do renters, we do
Good.
dwelling, we do dwelling as landlord. So we do all of that as well. And really, and it's not even just the renters. There's big, name brand companies pulling out of just literally the state of Texas. And that's really what we're seeing right now. Obviously with the renters, a lot of it is some companies just don't make enough money from renters to want to continue utilizing those policies. But we're also, it's a bigger picture in terms of, you've got State Farm trying to pull out of Texas, and you've got Progressive trying to pull out of certain areas as well. So in that matter, it's, yes, we can still do your autos, but it's also, we want to be able to continue doing your homes. And so, like Kayla was saying, we have that ability with our different carriers who you're not going to know who they are because they're not spending billions of dollars on marketing like some others. They are spending those billions of dollars on paying out those claims and taking care of those clients and, utilizing what insurance is for. So that's the biggest thing, is just a matter of, you've got the really big companies pulling out of, our state, our home, because they really can't afford to be here. And that's kind of what it is right now, is it's just a matter of, it's a money game. It really is. So. Yeah.
Well, I definitely don't want to get anybody in trouble, but I do have that question. It lingers in my head. What carriers are already pulled out of Houston or Texas?
So it's a little bit different because Houston is so many areas, right? So you've got Harris County, and you've also got down in the south, you've got the coastal counties as well. So
yeah, if you didn't know, Houston is very large.
Massive.
She's a big city.
She's a big city.
Yeah. So North Houston right now has been nicer to us because it's not on the coast.
Right.
So we are kind of right now looking at State Farm pulling out of at least certain areas of Texas. Therefore, kind of giving everybody the idea that they're trying to just get out of Texas. Now, obviously, I can't speak for the company and all of that fun stuff, but it is a matter of, it's so hard when you can't cover a certain area of the state. It's like, well, it's still a part of Texas. We still want to be able to take care of it, right? And so, and especially for me, I'm licensed in the entire state of Texas. So I can work anywhere. And so then it becomes a matter of, well, where can I work if people are pulling out, right? Absolutely. And so most of our carriers, luckily, have not been doing that. But those big ones, I know State Farm for sure is heading out.
So what happens when I have my policy through one of these companies that decides to pull out? What's the process?
So that is a super fun process because it's so fun because it's really just going to be most of the time it's going to be either an email or some sort of letter that you're going to get, and it's going to say, hey, you're canceled.
You have 30 days,
yeah,
or
and it's always different, but it's usually a matter of, as of this date, you are done.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I dealt with somebody yesterday who was kind of like, he was having that problem, and so it's a matter of, I need insurance, and obviously everybody needs it, but it's like, I can't
afford it.
Yeah, it's like, what do I do?
Expensive right now.
Well, also, what happens if they can't cover you? What happens if an owner has their primary and he's jumping? They're looking for coverage and nothing happens. Like every carrier is like, no, we won't take you. what do we do with this? They have a mortgage on this house.
Yeah.
So like, I know that's a very scary topic, but that's the realization of a lot of owners, now that a lot of carriers are not going to cover it. So
Right.
what do we do then? Does the mortgage now bounce and you have to foreclose, or like what? Can you kind of guide through
Yeah.
that?
So that won't happen.
Okay.
Well, there's always something.
Okay.
And I can at least speak on our end as Goosehead. We have a couple governmental funded situations where it's more less independent, and there's more that falls into it, but it is going to be assisted by the government, and you will get it. It's a matter of and usually it is a situation where you've been declined or you can't continue or whatever the situation is, but you will never be stuck without.
Good.
In any situation.
Well, that's a peace of mind.
Yeah, because I know I've gotten that question several times, in my friend circles or in different groups where they're like, well, what's going to happen if I don't get coverage? And I'm like, I can't even answer that.
I will say for those people, they're love them because that's a lot to deal with.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because it does feel like in that situation, like you are, SOL, like you have nothing to work with, really. And that's, whenever people come to me like that, I'm like, don't freak out. We got this. It's going to be okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're going to figure it out. I have options.
Good.
But that's also kind of another thing is just making sure people know they have options. You're not stuck with one or two, there's so much out there and you just don't know about them, right? I get the question all the time, is this a standard insurance carrier? It is. Like, that's the only people we work with, but there's a bunch out there that aren't. But you've got options and you can cancel at any time. You can renew, and truly one thing that I really wanted to stress was like, I want everybody to gather and take away from this that insurance is really just what you perceive it and what you want. And a lot of people feel like it is really forced, and I understand that, but it's also a matter of, what do you feel like you need? What do you feel like, you don't need? So it truly is, it needs to be a conversation. And that's one thing that I really stress with my people is, hey, this is going to be a long phone call, but we're going to cover everything down to the wire. You're going to understand your policy and you're going to feel comfortable.
And it needs to be a yearly conversation because we go through seasons of life and we change and our lifestyle changes and you have children and you have more cars and you have all the things. So let's get together, every year and look at your insurance because you don't need it until you need it. And you want to make sure you are fully covered.
Oh yeah. That's one of the hardest things to get through to some people is a matter of, I know it stinks when you're not using it every day, but you also, please, dear God, don't use it every day. Like, because obviously, the more claims you do file, the more expensive it's going to be. And the less a carrier will want you because it's like this person is quite literally a hazard.
The risk, right.
So that does become another conversation as well. But it's, it's a matter of, you can always change. And there's the market is always moving. One day it might be, Progressive is super competitive right now. But, in 5 months, that may be completely different. So, like you said, we always reshop. I always like to stress, call me. Just get a hold of me. I'm here. I'm pretty available. And it's my job. I want to make sure that you are happy with where you are. But you're also in the best place,
Right. So new homeowners,
Mm-hmm.
Investors, seasoned homeowners, real estate agents. Do you partner with real estate agents when they're out showing homes? And can they send you an address and you look up the insurance on that? What's that process?
Yeah. So we specialize with real estate professionals as a general. So real estate agents, loan officers, lenders, all that fun stuff. Just because that's a situation where most of the time to get a mortgage, you have to have insurance. Like there's no option, right? But yeah, no, we definitely partner with them and try to really kind of going back to what I said initially is I'm an asset for you guys and for, y'all's businesses. And I don't want it to be a hassle. I want it to be a partnership and I want to help you. So yeah, going out to open houses and taking team lunches on training days or, hosting the CE courses, all
She's
of
fabulous.
that fun stuff.
Mhm.
That's where I come in and I want to be an asset and I want to be helpful to you in your business, as well as obviously then it helps me, right? So,
Right. And what we're seeing on the title side is when you're out showing homes, the insurance part of it can be a deal breaker for these homeowners because it is less affordable nowadays to buy a home, with the interest rates and the insurance rates and everything that's going through. So, as early as you can, you see a home you like, you're out viewing it with your real estate agent, find out what the insurance policy might be on that home. I would say during option period, because we see it all too often that it's closer to closing, you can't afford it, and then you can't buy the home.
So, word around the campfire. I do have one question in particular that has been lingering on is regarding the roof. So, we know roofs can last for what we know 15 to 30 years.
They're supposed to.
They're supposed to, right?
Maybe
But-
not in South Texas.
right, yeah. So that's the ongoing thought process with that is 15 to 30 years. Cool. But now, what are you seeing as far as coverage goes? Where now, because from what I hear, cheese man, word around the campfire is that there's insurance companies that are actually not going to provide coverage if the roof is not or younger than 10 years. So, have you seen that? How do you guys what is your thought process with that?
Yeah, so I see it every day because we do, we work with these amazing carriers, but some of them do have certain underwriting guidelines. So, and underwriting is a whole monster in itself. But a lot of them, they're like, hey, if your roof is 2 years or older, then we're just going to give you not replacement costs and actual cash value, which is also another conversation that you have with your people in terms of replacement cost is what you want. Actual cash value, you don't want that. And that's also where it's so important to shop around because unfortunately that's one of those things we can't control. But you want your insurance agent to give you that replacement cost. And if this one carrier won't do that, then this one will, so that's a matter of you got to shop around. You have to find what you want, but you also have to know what you want, right? Before you go out and try to look, gather information, get ideas, because when that comes up, it's a matter of, hey, I have two quotes. One is really cheap. One is a little bit more expensive, but one, you're going to get a full roof back, and one, you're going to get a depreciated roof. So that's, it's all a part of really the bigger conversation. But yeah, it's happening. It's unfortunate because a lot of people, haven't replaced their roofs since Harvey because Harvey really did take out a bunch of roofs.
Oh yeah.
And so it's so expensive to replace a roof. And so it is a matter of you've got to shop around and find a carrier that will take you and your home and, if God forbid something happened, rebuild it.
Oh, that's awesome. Make note, y'all. I hope you heard that. Make note. Save some money for this roof that is expensive.
And upfront conversations when you're the yearly discussions with your policy. You heard her. I never knew that. Say it one more time.
You want replacement costs and you do not want actual cash value.
Note.
That is, like, if you take anything out of this podcast, take that. Because so replacement cost is obviously going to be, you're going to get something of like value with brand new materials and all of that stuff. If we're working with actual cash value, you're working with a depreciated value. You're working with market value, things that really shouldn't even matter when you are, replacing a roof.
Right.
So that is one of the most important things to take out of it.
Oh man, that's awesome. No, that's great because I'm making mental notes myself. So now that we've talked about past, present, now can you guide us as far as what do you see as a professional in the industry, in an insurance industry? Where are we going towards? Like, what do you see? I know you don't have a magic 8-ball. Totally get that. Right? We all wish, yeah. So what do you see kind of with the trend that's happening and patterns? What have you heard or have seen that we can expect in the future for insurance?
So we're definitely expecting at least a couple more rate drops, even kind of in the real estate industry as well, which I'm sure you can kind of speak on. Fingers crossed. But we're hoping that huge influx has kind of mellowed out. Because Goosehead, we were winners. We have always been able to beat policies and beat prices. And it's hard when you can't do that all the time because of certain areas and situations like that. So we're really expecting and really just hoping and praying that it kind of mellows out with hopefully, the end of hurricane season comes up. Things are paid out and life kind of goes back on.
Oh yeah, for sure. So one important question that I always ask, typically to all my partners or anything like that, especially with guests here in the podcast, is being in Houston, being one of the most diverse cities, if not the most diverse city, um, but language. So largest demographic is also Spanish speaking. So
Right.
do you have a team that would be able to take care of Spanish speakers?
Mhm. Yeah, so we do. Actually, in our office in the Woodlands, we have a guy that speaks Spanish, French, and Portuguese.
Yeah,
Shout
ah,
out to
que
Chris, we love
bon.
him.
Nice.
And so he is definitely our guy on that front. And Goosehead is so large in itself that we've had somebody come in and ask for Mandarin speaking, and we have somebody that can do that. So there's always that's never a problem for
Oh,
us.
perfect. Oh, that's awesome.
And just a reminder, Mariela also speaks Spanish, and First American Title has bilingual closers as well. Nobody that does French or what was the other one?
Portuguese.
Chris, come on, teach us your ways.
I'm like, I can barely
He's
get by with the
mad.
Portuguese a little bit.
We'll find
but
somebody to close
yeah,
those deals.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great to have assets on your team that can cover all the diversities in the melting pot of Houston. So, one last question. We talked a little bit earlier about underwriting and their restrictions as far as policies and things moving forward. Can you expand a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So, half the time when I am doing a quote for a homeowner or even autos can come back with underwriting. Of course they can. And so really what that means, it truly is, it's that company is trying to mitigate their risks and trying to kind of take care of themselves before anything happens. Not saying everybody is risky, but it's something they consider based on past and everything like that. And then it's also us kind of looking at some companies are saying, hey, this area is way too risky. And it's not necessarily them pulling out of the area, but it's also them it's usually a combination of your past, your history, where you live. Your insurance score is a huge one that goes into underwriting as well. The better it is, the cheaper, honestly, your premiums will be, and the more an insurance company will want you. So those are kind of the biggest things to consider. And your insurance score is obviously one of the biggest things that I can harp on. Nobody even really knows that you have one. You do. It's a matter of how long you've had insurance, what your claims look like. It does do a soft credit pool as well. It does not affect your credit. It just kind of addresses it more, in the situation. So obviously kind of you have to consider your past whenever things do come up. And that's also part of the bigger conversation in terms of, hey, maybe your insurance score isn't the best, but we have a carrier that will take it, so it's always one of those things.
Yeah, love it.
Wow, I had no idea we had an insurance score at all. How long I've been living in this area, like, I have never heard of that. But no, that's been very enlightening for sure. That's like, wow, okay, now I know.
Now I need to see mine.
Right now, I stay on top of my credit score, which is like legit. But like now, I'm like, what about my insurance score? Now I'm gonna have to talk to my insurance lady here after this. But thank you so much. This has been really insightful, seriously. And I know there's been a lot of questions and a lot of doubt, and you've provided a lot of peace of mind and answered a lot of the questions that I know have been lingering in this world. So thank you so much for being here. And how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I am super available. My email or phone number are the best ways to get a hold of me. And we will, I'm sure, have those linked.
Yes, we will provide that. Yes.
And like I said, we partner with real estate professionals, so realtors, loan officers, all of that fun stuff. I am, like I said, I want to be an asset to all of you guys in terms of, getting on that closing table, but also giving those clients that experience. So yeah, no, I'm available. If you need me, call me.
If you
That's how I
haven't
am.
if you haven't seen Morgan at one of our previous classes, you will be seeing her September, October, November. So
Oh
she is
yeah.
partnering up with First American Title, and we are so excited for this partnership. So
Yeah.
thank you. Again, you guys, I am one of your co-hosts, Kayla Ewald with First American Title.
And I'm your other co-host, Mariela Aguirre. Thank you so much for watching.